Hey y'all, I'm Heather and welcome to my channel. And we are working this time on the block 2 that we are doing for Gnome-ster Moon, the bear track block. Once again, I have made the smallest block as my test piece, just to see if I could do it. It took me a minute, but I got it. And is it not stinking cute? I love this thing. Now, what I'm doing right now is I'm finishing up a little bit of prep work for the claw parts of our block. Another thing to note on this one, I pressed it open for the most part because it's crazy small and there's a lot of bulk no matter what I do. So pressing it open at least gives me a little bit less. So what I'm doing to finish prep, and I'm cheating. I'm telling y'all, I'm cheating. I'm using these half square triangle papers from Fat Quarter Shop to do my half square triangles for the claws. And what I'm doing is I have my two pieces together. I have my paper. I'm lining up the corners. Just like this, if it'll behave. Figures I turn the camera on and it doesn't want to behave. But hey, this is normal, right? I'm using the light from the window behind the camera, across the house actually. And then I'm going to take a couple of pins, and it shifted, of course. There we go. Like I said, I turn the camera on, it don't want to behave. Okay, there we go. Now, I take my pin, I stick it through one side and flip it and pop it through the other side, which gives me this configuration. But I'm not going to start with sewing this. I'm going to start by sewing these little 4 patches right here in the palm of the paw. So let's get started. So I realized during the editing portion of the album block that I posted that some of my angles were not so great in that video. I'm a little out of practice. So I'm going to try and do better in the future. That's all I can say right now. Because I got to get back in the swing of things. I took some time off with the minions over the holidays, plus being sick. Yeah, that was fun. So I'm a little out of practice and I'm getting back at it. Alright, now just so I keep everything together, I'm going to snip them apart in pairs. Just make it easier on myself. Let's go press these and come back. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do again is always set my seams. Okay, move these out of the way. I'm going to come back with these. And I'm going to finger press them open like this a little bit. And come in with my iron. And we got them open like that. We're not done, but that's our next step. Okay, now remember I said we weren't done yet. The next thing we're going to do, because these are still going to be kind of small, is go ahead and press these open. Now, there will be things in this block that I press to the side, but the smaller piecing, the palm of the bear paw and the claws of the bear paw will be pressed open just to save on some bulk in the seams and make it lay flatter. Okay, let's go finish putting these together. Now, by keeping them together in pairs like I have, I've made it easy on myself so I know which one goes, or which ones go together. So I can just line them up and stitch them. Are they gonna be perfect? Probably not. That's okay. I'm not overly worried about this portion. Alright, now before I go press these again, we're going to do a little more sewing. We're going to go ahead and get our half square triangles all sewn together. I'm going to remove that. Won't need it for now. Now, with the half square triangle papers, we got to remember, we sew on the dotted line and cut on the solid line, okay? So let's get these done. And as you can see, I've pinned far enough away from that dotted line that I don't have to worry about running into a pin. That's always the goal. Don't run over your pins. It's not good for your machine. Now we're going to turn it around and go back down the other side. Pulling some of the pins out as we go. Because we still don't want it to shift. Okay, let's get these cut, pull the paper off, and trim these up. Okay, here we are. What we need to trim these up, our rotary cutter, a ruler that's long enough to go across the center line from corner to corner, and we'll get two of each pair. Alright, now to take these papers off, first of all I should also mention that it is recommended that you lower your stitch length to a 1.8, 1.5, whatever you feel comfortable with. I typically sew at a 2, a 1.8 or a 2, so I'm not too worried about having to lower my stitch length. But what it does is it makes more perforations in the paper, which means it's easier to take off. Alright, our next step is to trim these up. And I'm going to use the trusty little 2.5-inch square ruler. And I'm going to trim to what these measurements in here tell me to. Making sure that I have enough to do this with. Now, I've shown this technique before. I've struggled with it quite a bit before. This time, not so much. I've had a little practice. Okay. What I'm doing now is lining it up at the measurement and lopping off these dog ears. So I'm left with a piece that looks like this. When it opens up, it will be a very nice half square triangle. And what I do is I take the line that I need and line it up on the stitch line. Then I take my rotary cutter and trim off the edges so it's nice and clean. Then I flip it over away from me. And once again, now I'm lining that corner up along this diagonal line, and the other two lines that I need out here once again hit the stitch line. Then I just take my dog ears off and I have a little diamond shape that will turn into a lovely half square triangle. Alright, let's go press. Okay, first thing I'm going to do, set my seams. I have my handy dandy stick out again. I'm getting my handy dandy stick here. I'm going to open this seam up. And press it open. This is just going to save me a little bit of bulk. Apparently I need to snip this thread that's now hindering my block laying flat. So, these are not sewing scissors, these are kids' scissors. But you know what? They were close. So there are our palms of our paws. Next, triangles. All right, let's go assemble our bear paws. Okay. So the nice thing about this is you can turn this any way you want it to go. So we'll take this way, for example. And then you will take your half square triangles and put them where you want them, along with a background square. Here in that corner. And as you can see, I'm putting these in opposite corners of where they are. I'm not putting them right next to each other, for example. Then the next thing we do is sew these together and then assemble this entire unit. So let's sew that together real quick. So these two were set like this. I'm going to flip this one down on top of the other. Okay, remember which way I have to sew. And now I'm going to take the other two, which were like this, flip one over, and sew. Now I'm just going to finger press this for right now from the back. I'm going to take my pressing stick from the front. And I will be pressing everything again as I assemble it. So we will go to the iron here in just a few minutes. Okay. Now on this one I also needed my background square. So I'm going to attach my background square to my half square triangles unit. And then I have this unit I can go ahead and assemble. I'll just line up my center seam. Make sure I'm not going to flip any seams. Okay. I'm pressing that open. I'm going to open this seam too, because it's going to make this block lay really nice and flat. I'm just pressing down, I'm not trying to distort anything. I'm just pressing straight down. Now at this point is when we're going to go over to the iron. So let's move over there and I'll show you what we do. So what we're doing is I already have this finger pressed open. So I'm just gently lifting my iron and moving it across to get those seams nice and flat. Now what I'm going to do here is set my seam. Make sure the whole thing's going to stay nice and flat for me. Let it cool off a minute. And I'm going to flip this open. Just press it, just finger press it real quick. I'm going to come open this seam up and press it flat. I'm going to flip it over and press it from the top, just so it'll behave a little bit better. Okay. Then the next part, I'm going to take these two, flip this one this way, and we're going to go sew it. Alright, now I'm going to run over and press this open just like I have the rest. And I'll be right back. Alright, and here we go. All nice and pressed. Now, I'm going to show you what happened. One seam flipped. This one right here. So instead of fighting it and fighting with it and ripping it out, I just flipped that one over. Just let this one done one way. It's fine. It happens to the best of us. It's not a big deal. So now we're going to make 3 more of these. Let's move that a little bit. Grab our next one. Figure out where everything's going. Now it's time to assemble the whole block. What we want to do is face our paws in different directions. So we got up, up right, up left, and down right. And I have fussy cut a cat to go in the middle. Now I'm going to lose parts of the cat, I know, but that's okay. It's still a cat. I know it's a cat. It doesn't matter if anybody else knows it's a cat. I know it's a cat. And then we have these background strips which go in between our blocks, or our units. And now we're just gonna sew all of this together and then go press it. Here we go. Starting with the top row. I'm just gonna chain piece these. Next, I'm going to just finger press these really fast. There, I didn't lose as much of the cat on that one as I thought I would. Now I'm going to bring the other piece up one at a time. Line them up. And as you can see, I'm just finger pressing these for right now. I have them all webbed together. This way I'm not losing anything. Everything is in its place. And now I'm going to flip this over. Line up my center seams. Nest them nicely. Because of how I finger press, that makes it a little bit easy. And I'm just going to sew on across. All done. All right, let's go press this and see how we turned out. All right. And here we have our finished bear's paw block, bear tracks block. Is it perfect? No, not perfect. Does it need to be trimmed? Yes, definitely. Am I going to do that right now? No, I'm not. So now we have finished block 2 of our Gnome-ster Moon sampler quilt. Here's the miniature version. This is the medium-sized version. Later this week, y'all will get the large version because, as always, Minions will be home soon and I'm running out of time. So, with that, have a great day, have a great week. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.